Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just like cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer-mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Toker Talk Radio, continuing our topic from the earlier rant, which is just my generic, I'm just this is a grab bag of rant right for today. I got to be honest with you. I'm only able to give 96% for today's show. I apologize. Couldn't give you 100%. I'm missing about 4%. Got a big meeting tonight for Portland Normal happening at a brand new location, and I'm trying to organize a press release for the October 1st early sales. So had a lot of distractions earlier today. My apologies, but we do as best we can here at Rolla J Studios. And talking more about this medical recreational, the implementation of legalization here in the state of Oregon and elsewhere. And one thing that's becoming perfectly clear to me, and that is this distinction between medical marijuana and recreational marijuana needs to end. There is no such thing as medical marijuana. There is no such thing as recreational marijuana. There is marijuana. That's it. I mean, oranges can be a food if you're hungry. Oranges can be a medicine if you've got scurvy. But an orange is an orange. And marijuana is marijuana. This artificial distinction between medical marijuana and recreational marijuana is really a distinction between medical consumers and adult consumers. It's the reason why the consumer is choosing to use the marijuana that makes the consumer different. It doesn't make the product different. And it makes no more sense to have a separate shop where medical marijuana is sold and a separate shop where recreational marijuana is sold than it does to have a vegetable stand or a fruit stand for oranges for healthy people and a separate fruit stand for people with scurvy. Makes no sense. And in creating that artificial distinction in the product, you only enact regulatory and economic barriers to the most efficient free market distribution of that product. Imagine any other product if it had to be completely manufactured, processed, distributed, and sold in two separate supply chains. For whatever reason. Same exact product, two separate supply chains. How about if there were two separate publishers for Stevie D'Angelo's new book? Exact same book, exact same cover, exact same words in it. But one book is printed for women and the other book is printed for men. Only women can buy the book at the women's bookshop and only men can buy books at the men's bookshop. How much more expensive would books be? There's no good reason to keep medical and recreational separate. That does not mean there's no good reason to not treat the different customers differently. What I propose for any state that is considering legalization of marijuana is to avoid like the plague this distinction of medical versus recreational, and instead create yourself marijuana regulations that apply to adults. Then create a medical designation through a program, through a doctor's recommendation, whatever, that allows people younger than 21 to participate in the market and gives those people a tax cut or break altogether. Have one store, one set of, here's your growers, they grow marijuana. Here's your processors, they process it, they cook it up into edibles, they make tinctures, whatever. They send it to marijuana stores. And when you go to the marijuana store, if you show your medical marijuana card, they don't push the tax button. Why does it need to be any different than that? Now, I'll get complaints sometimes from people that don't like this line of reasoning from me. And they'll say, well, because the medical consumer can't be, they can't be having any pesticides or fungicides or mites or any of the molds. It could be really dangerous for them. They've got really compromised immune systems and such. Right. As if I want to suck that shit down? No, I don't want it either. Or I'll hear, oh, well, the medical consumer has many more questions about which strain is going to help which ailment and how it's going to affect their different medical conditions and so forth. Okay. Might I not also have questions? Is this sativa going to keep me awake at night? Is this indica going to help the pain in my lower back? Even though I'm not a registered patient, I might be buying marijuana for medical uses. And right now in the state of Washington, if you don't have that medical rec and you're not going to a medical dispensary, if you're going to an I-502 shop, they can't tell you any medical benefits. They're forbidden. It's insane. How about this? How about we set up the one system to rule them all, like Lord of the Rings, right? We set up the medical system. We set up the marijuana system. We set the standards for production, potency, purity, all of that. We set those standards at the medical level. The adult consumers aren't going to mind. Like, oh, so you've made all of our product medical grade? Thank you. Thank you for making sure that it's pure and it's potent and it hasn't been, contaminated with chemicals and such. Thank you. I'm sure the recreational consumers will be fine with that. Make the standard of service match the medical need. If some of your customers have a ton of medical questions and the rest of them don't, they're not going to mind the person getting them the bud having that knowledge. So if I'm just going in to get weed to get high, it doesn't hurt me in any way if the guy selling it to me knows that it's a super silver haze that has a certain level of cannabigerol that's helpful for people with intestinal disorders or whatever the hell. Fine, great. Doesn't hurt the recreational consumer. One system, medical standards, tax breaks for patients. That's all we need to do.
Five of the last 9 major party candidates to run for president, 3 of the last 9 vice presidential candidates, and the last 3 two-term presidents have all smoked pot. Marijuana, the gateway drug to the White House. This is the Russ Belville Show.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Herb Thrasher, and you're listening to 420 Radio. Bongs up!
Imagine life without taxes. Let New Era Certified Public Accountants, NewEraCPAs.com, handle your Cannabis 280E and tax strategy. Get your business prepared with New Era CPA's Cannabis Finance Bootcamp. NewEraCPAs.com. With years of experience in the industry, we are one of the nation's leading accounting firms for growers, dispensaries, and ancillary companies from Washington to California.
neweracpas.com. 420 Radio is listener-supported 24-hour internet radio. Our mission is to provide exposure to the activists nationwide fighting for the end of marijuana prohibition. You can help sustain our mission with a one-time donation to 420 Radio at 420radio.org/donate. You can also become a monthly VIP member at 420radio.org/donate and get access to our members-only content. Your donation keeps our stream and podcast free at 420radio.org/donate.
As a police officer, I walked the beat, served on the Vice Squad and SWAT team, and became an expert on drug addiction. I saw firsthand the effects of Ohio's destructive marijuana laws. Simply put, they don't work. Ohio spends over $100 million each year on this failed effort. It's time for marijuana reform, so law enforcement can spend their time cracking down on real criminals and making Ohio a safer place for our families. Vote yes on 3.
Everybody, that's music from 10 Foot Ganja Plant with Set Me Free. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio, Hour 2 of the Russ Belville Show. Later tonight, I will be out at the Analog on Hawthorne Boulevard here in Portland, participating in our monthly Portland Normal meeting. We'll have photos and audio from the meeting on all my social media channels, so follow me at Radical Russ everywhere. Quick update on a story we did yesterday. We told you about Martin Shkreli. Martin Shkreli is the man who hiked the price of Daraprim, a pill that's used to combat toxoplasmosis, mostly among AIDS patients. He hiked the pill by 5,500%, from $13.50 a pill to $750 a pill. Well, there's been a lot of outrage about this, and the breaking news now is that Shkreli says that he's going to roll back the price hike in response to nationwide outrage. In response to nationwide outrage, heard so much from so many about what a money-grubbing asshole he is, has backed down. He's been denounced by Hillary Clinton, by Bernie Sanders, just about every news organization. And no reports yet on how much he will lower the price. This doesn't say he's going to back it down back to $13.50. Just says he's under fire, says he will lower the cost of the life-saving medication. Did not say what the new price would be, but expected a determination to be made over the next few weeks. So you think it's going to go back to $13.50? I doubt it. So he'll cut it down to $200 and say what a great man he is. What a great guy he is for cutting it down to just $200. But the thing about this story is there's a much bigger story behind it, and that is the failure of the American healthcare system to treat the least of us, to be a workable system for the most good. We've got listeners from Canada that will tell you about their Canadian system. We got friends out in Britain who will talk about the National Health Service, and they're not perfect. There's always things you can find in any system that's got a problem. But as far as dealing with the most people needing the most health care, these systems are far outperforming the United States. And in this example, there's just the prescription drug example is one of the highlights of how we have come to worship capitalism over our fellow man. Remember when Medicare was blocked from negotiating higher drug or lower drug prices through the Obamacare, some of the compromises they made on it? They've been wanting to do this for a long time. Other countries leverage the power of their national health services to negotiate for lower prices from the drug companies on many popular drugs. But the United States is one of the few that does not. This has led to some of the following. In Canada, you can get a pill of Enbrel. I don't know if this is pills or if it's let's see the data here. Well, it just says drug prices. Cost per month. There it is. Cost per month. Okay, so a month's worth of Enbrel, which is an autoimmune drug, and it's very similar to Daraprim. It's usually used by HIV/AIDS patients. In Canada, that's going to run you $1,600 for the month. In the UK, $1,100 for the month. Here in the US, $3,000. Celebrex, pain reliever, $51 in Canada, $330 in the United States. Copaxone for multiple sclerosis, $1,400 in Canada, $3,900 in the US. Cymbalta for depression, $110 in Canada, $46 in the UK, $240 in the United States. Gleevec, the drug for leukemia, $1,100 in Canada, $2,600 in the UK, $8,500 in the United States. Humira for arthritis, almost $2,000 in Canada, about $1,100 in the UK, $3,000 in the US. And Nexium for acid reflux disease, $30 in Canada, $30 for your Nexium, $305 in the United States. How is it that we have higher drug prices in the United States than any other comparable country? Oh yeah, I remember free market capitalism. It's a free market. Remember how the free market's going to lead to competition, and all these guys will compete for their customers, and they'll lower their prices to attract their customers, and the market will work out the efficiencies, yada, yada, yada. Seems to never happen. You know why? Because there's no such thing as a free market in drugs. When you need a life-saving drug, you don't get the choice of shopping around. You don't get the choice of waiting or going without. You must purchase this product. This creates an inelastic demand for the product. Econ 101 will tell you, in such a situation, if you can restrict the supply of such thing with an inelastic demand, you can create a massive price for it. And that's what we've got in the United States. Folks, there's just some things that should not be for profit. Profit should exist. It should absolutely exist. We should absolutely have a profit motive to encourage growth in an economy. But there are some things for which the profit motive should not encourage growth. Private prison industries. We shouldn't encourage profit based on locking up more people. Healthcare. We shouldn't encourage profit by managing someone's symptoms. We should cure them. Management should be as affordable as possible, and a last resort to a cure. Fire protection, police protection, army, education, basic food, clothing, and shelter is something that should not be for profit. Governments are formed among men for many reasons, and one of them is to promote the general welfare. It's right there in our founding documents. Promote the general welfare, the well-being of the people. And too many people in this country see that as, we're going to subsidize the takers, the lazy people. Work hard, people on welfare are depending on you. No, that's not what this is all about. This is about investment. We learned early on with private fire departments that if your house wasn't insured, your house would burn down and burn down someone else's house. We learned that taking care of each other was the best way to take care of ourselves in the long run. You want an economy that grows. You want a healthy, educated populace. But maybe I smoke too much pot.
Yeah, baby.
As you can probably guess, I'm excited as hell about Bernie Sanders running for president. Where before you couldn't even say socialist without being considered to be a godless atheist communist, now we're actually having substantive discussions about democratic socialist policies that are completely uncontroversial in most of the rest of the world.
Hey, it's Herb Thrasher, and this is 420radio.org.
Oregon has joined Washington and Colorado in legalizing marijuana. We're Portland NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws chapter in Portland, Oregon. Join us as we celebrate the launch of an exciting new era in marijuana freedom in Oregon. Our job has just begun. Powerful interests want to white out the most important portions of Oregon's legalization law. By joining Portland NORML, you add your voice to the thousands who voted for Measure 91 and want it to be implemented as written. The people have spoken. Now it is time for the legislature to obey the will of the people. Find out more about Portland NORML at portlandnormal.org. Attend our monthly membership meetings on the fourth Saturday of the month. See our website for more details. Portland NORML, ensuring responsible adult marijuana consumers are afforded the same rights, privileges, and responsibilities as beer drinkers. The Russ Belville Show is proudly sponsored by the Marijuana Business Association. The MJBA, called by NBC News the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, is the fastest growing business association in the fastest growing industry in America. I've been working with the MJBA for years, and I personally invite you to join the MJBA. MJBA also publishes the popular MJ Headline News on Facebook and the MJNewsNetwork.com, and Marijuana Channel 1 on YouTube. Visit mjba.net for more details. The Fingerboard Extension has fretted instruments to enhance your creativity. It has new and used guitars and banjos from beginning to high class. The Fingerboard Extension has National, Resophonic, Husson Dalton, Larrabee, Heritage, and Recording King guitars, and Mike Ramsey, Wildwood, Gold Tone, and Recording King banjos. The Fingerboard Extension also has drum stuff, used gear, and parts. Stop by the Fingerboard Extension, downtown Corvallis, Oregon at 120 Northwest 2nd, or check out the inventory on the web at fingerboardextension.com and reverb.com.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Irie Wednesday, featuring reggae, ska, and other world music genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
Well, folks, Gordon Green is out there getting the Music Planet prepared for us, but he can't call in today because of work, so we're just going to go straight to the tune. This is Disraeli and the Small Gods with Nevermind.
Don't your heads like that.
You might see me walking around with a slight limp. It's not a G thing, bruv, I've done my ankle in. A bit thrown like the dice in the I Ching. I'm not sleeping while my head is tangling. I need an aspirin, bruv, I need a Saturday. A cup of tea to drink, possibly a Jaffa cake. Or just an evening alone, I've had a manic day. It's been an age since I was chilled enough to master. Baby, come here, I love you, my stinky tits. You could help me with my problem, come to think of it. Rinky dink, sugar plum, twinkle clip. Didn't mean stinky tits. Sorry, I've been a dick, sorry, that was worse than dreadful. It's my stress levels, it's my work schedule. But my desk head full of words, unsettled, unearthed. I'm dizzy, I'm in effect, I'm ineffectual. But come on.
Never mind, it doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is you dance, cause it's a very, very short life. Never mind, it doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is you dance, cause it's a very, very short life.
I move fast, all the flies on me are blue. Skid the turn pages till he got to the root part. Hit the curves naked with the sock on his doodah.
It's a wonderful night for a moon dance.
Cherubim serenade us on a sketchily tuned heart. Venus plays the bass string strung between two stars. Jesus levitates on a fungus of blue hearts. And Sarah Palin's abducted in Utah.
Pardon?
I said, welcome to the Terror Dome. Never give acid to a man with the megaphone. He will get frantic and then he won't let it go. If you ever seen a rapper's head explode. And when the crowd dies, I hope that they've been entertained and found me useful. Like safety information on a train, because to be truthful, I crave just a little taste of fame, then it hit me. Ego is a waste of brains.
Never mind, it doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is you dance, cause it's a very, very short life. Never mind, it doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is you dance, cause it's a very, very short life. Very short time. Never mind, it doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is you dance. It's a very, very short life. Never mind, it doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is you dance. It's a very, very short life.
Hey, what's up? It's Herb Thrasher, and you're listening to 420 Radio.
Get.buzz. .buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz. Hey everybody, it's Radical Russ here from 420 Radio, inviting you to be like me and get your ink done at Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo, Fort Worth's most female-friendly, clean, sterile, awesome tattoo shop. Thomas and his crew are true artists who can design you a custom piece or use a design you bring in. Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo also offers all styles of tattooing as well as piercings and all-around fun. In the DFW area, stop by Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Trust me, it'll feel awesome. You're listening to 420 Radio. Listen Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific for Century of Lies, podcasting at drugtruth.net. Pioneering marijuana radio activist Dean Becker continues his illustrious career interviewing reform luminaries on his Century of Lies and Cultural Baggage shows from Pacifica's KPFT in Houston. Check our online listings for Century of Lies with Dean Becker from drugtruth.net. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. Half past here at Rolla J Studios. Revolution with Sky is the Limit playing there in the background. And we got some breaking news here. The Portland City Council has tabled for another week their provision to require 1,000-foot barriers between medical and recreational shops. So they're not going forward with the thing that a dispensary has to be 1,000 feet from a pot shop and vice versa. They will stay currently with dispensaries have to be 1,000 feet from each other, and pot shops have to be 1,000 feet from each other. And this comes from Lindsay Reinhart, who says, myself and 2 other activists delayed the Portland City Council ordinance vote for another week for them to amend the bad language. No word yet on what parts they are amending, but the fact that they're not moving forward at all at this point is at least good news to prevent that 1,000-foot barrier from happening. I don't know, this 1,000-foot stuff, like, if they don't take that out, right, you could have a pot shop next to a recreational dispensary, but that would be it. There'd be 2 places. So this idea that, because one of the examples they give is that they don't want to have we have this particular section out in North Portland where they have tons of these lottery places, like Lottery Row, right? Basically a gambling center in a strip mall. And they don't want that kind of stuff to happen. But this wouldn't be able to happen. You'd only be able to have 2 spots, one recreational, one medical, in one particular 1,000-foot zone. Because if those 2 were next to each other, you couldn't put a third medical or recreational next to them because they'd be within 1,000 feet of each of those, right? So we've already got a 1,000-foot rule to keep from having too many pot shops in one place. The most you can have with this is 2 in one place. What's the harm in that? I mean, if you are going to insist on there being separate recreational and separate medical, then what's the harm in having one next to another? So the people that are really against this, of course, are the existing medical dispensary owners. Their agenda is that, hey, I've got a place, I've got traffic, I've got a shop, I want to switch from being medical to being recreational. And they're worried that some other guy is going to show up, well capitalized, and open up a shop near them within 1,000 feet of them and take all the recreational customers before they can make the transition to being a recreational place. They feel like they should get some sort of bonus since they were ahead of the curve. They already are licensed for medical, that they should be able to just move ahead and be the recreational places. And they don't want competition. Well, tough. We as consumers want to get the best deal possible. And if the situation exists that a medical place, all the medical places have already taken all the good zoning locations, where are we supposed to shop for our recreational marijuana? Or vice versa, if all these medical shops turn into recreational shops, where the medical person's supposed to go to get tax-free purchases? I would just hope eventually these people recognize how stupid it is to try to keep them separate. Solve the problem. Say pot shops can't be within 1,000 feet of other pot shops. Make all pot shops just pot shops. Don't charge tax to the patients. Boom, we're done. Why does this have to be so difficult? It's because the people who are already in the medical side got theirs, and they want to keep getting theirs, and they want to keep having their market share. And bless them, that's what they're, going to want to do. They're a business, of course. But keeping this artificial distinction between medical and recreational is just throwing a spanner into the works and making this more difficult than it needs to be. Frankly, I'm envious of Ohio going straight from decrim to medical and recreational at the same time and not having to go through all of this. How do we transition from medical to recreational? This continued separation also only incentivizes people to make a mockery of the medical side. If it turns out that all the shops that are near me are medical and the one that I would have to shop at recreational is way the hell out of town somewhere, that's incentivizing me to find a friend who's got a medical card to go shopping for me. If we continue to have some sort of restriction that says, oh, you can't buy potent edibles, like if they try to do something, well, on the recreational side, you can have a 10 milligram Chiba Chew, but over on the medical side, you can have a 100 milligram chew. If they do crap like that, you're just going to see more incentivization of people to want to cheat the medical system. Having two systems means in one fashion or another, one system will be superior to the other. It just can't not be. There cannot be two exactly identical systems. If there were, why have two systems? So if you're going to have two systems, one of them is going to have an advantage over the other. In location, in price, in being tax-free, in selection. And it may be the medical side or it may be the recreational side. You know, maybe all these medical places are really in it to be recreational producers. They all switch to be recreational, and now the medical gets screwed by not having as many locations to shop, having to go farther to get what they need, right? So have one system for everybody. Let those shops be 1,000 feet from each other, like they already are. With our 1,000-foot rule here in Portland, we've got a pretty good assortment of pot shops to go to in most neighborhoods. It's not too far to go find some marijuana. But having this artificial distinction is only going to make it worse for everyone involved. Speaking of making things worse and the transitions in marijuana, there was a story that I brought to you a few weeks ago about how Portland was going to have a marijuana strip club. Yeah, there's going to be a marijuana strip club out there on Killingsworth and 82nd Avenue. They have recently posted to their Facebook page that their lawyers informed them there can be no indoor marijuana smoking, which anybody could have told them, right? You can't exactly have a strip club outside, right? I guess you could. Maybe you could have it surrounded by walls and, open air. But basically, the idea of smoking weed and watching naked women is not going to happen here in Portland anytime soon, at least in a public venue. And it's just, it's just frustrating, to get to this point. And I know it's first world problems to complain about this stuff when you're talking about people in Texas or Georgia or wherever you are, where you can still do serious jail time for weed. But it's just weird. It's a weird situation to be in where you're legal, but you're not accepted. You're legal so long as you stay in your basement. Don't let anyone see that you're using pot. Don't drive anywhere. And you can't enjoy your pot at any entertainment activity. Only at home. That's the only place It's the only place we're going to let you do it. And in a sense, what we've been characterized as is drug addicts who will allow to be drug addicts at their home. And that's it. Because your addiction is so terrible and sets such a bad example for the children. We can't have you running around in public with everyone else. And that's a weird place to be. In a sense, it's almost weirder than when we were criminals, right? Because when marijuana was illegal, at least why you were hiding in the basement was for your safety, right? At least why you were denigrated in society is because you were committing crimes. Even though they're not crimes, they were defined as such, and that stamped you with criminal, and criminal in this society is bad. So there was a reason. There was a reason for you to be discriminated against and sequestered that wasn't your fault, right? It had to do with the law making it criminal. But now the law says it's legal. The law says there's nothing wrong with the marijuana itself, and that leaves the discrimination and the sequestration to tell us that there's something wrong with us. Do you get the distinction? You get where I'm going on this? Right? Before, you were discriminated against because you were a lawbreaker. Now you're discriminated against because you're a pothead. And maybe it's a slight distinction, but it's something I can feel. It's just something weird about being legal, but now culturally restricted. And well, I should say legally restricted too. These are the laws. These are the ordinances that are being passed that say we have to be 1,000 feet from everything and can't be in any sort of public thing where somebody might consume alcohol sometime. And it becomes harder and harder to reconcile. And maybe this is what accelerates the legalization movement and keeps fueling it over the next decade or so, is this cognitive dissonance of it being legal but being forbidden. Maybe that's what gets us over the next hump, because when you become legal, and as society recognizes it as legal, it can't help but compare it to the other legal substance, alcohol. And those comparisons can't not help us to make further gains throughout the society. When we continue to press this issue, they're going to have to ask, wait a minute, why do we have the Oktoberfest where parents are running around drinking massive steins of beer and kids are with them and hanging out and it's all good and it's okay? Why is it that all throughout Portland, we can go to movie theaters? We have movie theaters here where you can get a pizza and a beer or two and drink your beer in the movie theater watching the movie. Why we accept alcohol so easily and so gracefully? For the most part, we do. I know people get into wrecks and get drunk and pukey and all that, but for the most part, we accept alcohol in the society pretty well. We function on it pretty well. It's become part of the fabric of our society. So that makes it so much weirder to think that the safer substance can't be that way.
The beginning of the end started in 1996 when California legalized weed for so-called medical purposes. 16 years later, Washington and Colorado legalized it outright and let people sell it from storefronts. And what has been the result?
The generation of millions of dollars in tax revenue for the states and creation of hundreds of new jobs in a growing multi-billion-dollar industry?
No. Well, yes, but at what cost?
Let's see. The cost of all that police time and money that's now spent going after real criminals and prisons with enough room to hold them all?
No. Well, yes, but look at what it's done to the people.
You mean that fewer of them are dying of alcohol, tobacco, and prescription-related causes since they've switched to cannabis, and many more are receiving medical benefit from a cheap, non-toxic healing herb?
No. Well, yes to all of that, but I can smell pot from my backyard. And I can't tell my kids not to do it because it's illegal.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Herb Thrasher, and I've got a bong, and you're listening to 420 Radio.
This is Radical Russ encouraging you to take a look at the Weed Blog every day. Johnny Green and the staff at the Weed Blog are on top of all the latest developments in the fight to end marijuana prohibition nationwide. You can even get the Weed Blog on your smartphone by installing the Weed Blog app for iPhone and Android. If it's about weed, it's on the Weed Blog, including my original writing. So don't delay. Read the Weed Blog today.
It's time for Cannabis Facts about teen drug use from Robert Platshorn's thesilvertour.org. This message is supported by our donors and Hemp Inc., a public company poised to lead America's hemp revolution at hempinc.com. A recent survey by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control indicates that in states that have legalized medical marijuana, the rate of marijuana consumption among high school students has not increased. In fact, in legal states like Colorado, teen use has actually decreased significantly. It's simply no longer a big deal for teenagers in legal states. This was Cannabis Facts from thesilvertour.org, an educational nonprofit supported by our donors and Hemp Inc., a public company poised to lead America's hemp revolution at hempinc.com.
Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let's focus our discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
Well, we are back. That is music from Mystic Roots with Pass the Marijuana. I'm Radical Russ hanging out with you here at Rolla J Studios in beautiful legal Potland, Oregon. And getting some tweets back from some of the Salio out there in Ohio, although I've blocked most of them. When the discussions get, 19, 20 tweets deep and they're calling you names, that's when I block you. It's like, that's enough. I don't need to spend my time being called names. So I just block them. But there's one or two of them that I still look through. And one of them here has said, a couple of them have brought up the point that there was some interview with one of the investors in the Responsible Ohio 2015 campaign who said that if they fail in 2015, they'll be back in 2017 with another shot. So, of course, all the stoners against legalization are jumping all over me. Russ, you said there wouldn't be another time until 2020. See, somebody else is going to put legalization on the ballot later. We don't have to go for this one. It's not now or never. You said it would be now or never. See? Well, let's break this down. First of all, I never said now or never. In fact, I've been pretty clear about saying eventually every state will be legalized. The question is, how many more ruined lives are you going to let happen before that eventually happens? Every year that Ohio does not have marijuana legalization means 10,000 people get tickets or arrests that they would not get if marijuana was legalized. 10,000 people a year, and again, 4 times more likely to be black, 3 times more likely to be under the age of 30. People just getting started in life, people who may already have many more hurdles in life to have to clear, given yet another hurdle in, at best, a fine maybe they can't afford, and at worst, jail time. But nope, go ahead. Let's just go ahead and let that keep happening. Let's let another 20,000 people go through that for their next proposal. And this is the other thing that's killing me too, is because when I'm saying, look, you're not going to get another decent shot until 2020, I'm talking about other shots that might be the kind that they would think is true legalization, like one of their activist groups or maybe one of the national groups comes in to try to pass this thing. The point is that the groups that they're saying, that are the OTEPs and the ROCs that are saying, oh, we'll put something better on 2016, are broke. They have no money. They're not going to do anything. It's a pipe dream. The point was not that these investors don't have money to do it. Obviously they do. They got it on the ballot in 2015. And so I'm just stunned that these stoners against legalization in Ohio seem to think that the asshole rich guy who's only trying to corner the market in 2015 is somehow going to come back in 2017 with the perfect, pure, true legalization they'll all love and get behind. See? We don't have to vote for this asshole's language in 2015. In 2 years, this asshole will give us other language. And you think it's going to be better? Okay, maybe next time he doesn't propose a marijuana oligopoly. Maybe next time he proposes that marijuana shall be grown at 10 locations yet to be determined, but to be picked by a commission that consists of the investors in the scheme. Right? So it's not an oligopoly yet, but it will be. Or maybe you set it up so that there's a fixed number of 10 growers and the licensing fees for each grow will be $1 million. And there'll be a bidding process that assigns points based on all sorts of factors, capitalization and insurance and experience and so forth. that will, in effect, it'll have the same effect. You'll end up with 10 rich guys growing all the weed, and nobody who's currently growing and making money will be able to get in on the market. Or maybe in 2017, he makes it so that there's 10 that are already set in stone for his investors, and another 10 that are open licenses that cost $100,000 a piece. Maybe that's how it comes out. But regardless of how it comes out, what I bet doesn't come out of it is Oregon style. There's as many growers as you could possibly ever want. Let the market decide, and the cost of getting in will be less than 10 grand. Doubt it. You think this guy, this rich guy you proclaim to be a super asshole who's just trying to corner the market and make money, the guy who tried 3 times, was it, for the casino initiative to make it happen, to make money, is going to change his stripes in 2 years and suddenly be an open for all, let's let the little guy in marijuana legalizer? You think he's in this for the marijuana legalization? You think he's in this for the altruism of it? You think he's concerned about 10,000 arrests and citations every year? That's what his concern is. And he'll flip in 2017 and give you something you'll vote for? Bullshit. You same stoners against legalization will find something else in it that isn't really legalization. And you'll be against it again. So, pile on all you like, stoners against legalization, but here's the facts. I vote for legalization. I always support legalization. If there is something that stops the arrest and harassment of cannabis consumers, I vote for it. If the cops are voting against it, I vote for it. If Kevin Sabet is against it, I vote for it. If the DEA is against it, I vote for it. If the private prison guard unions are against it, I am for it. If the rehabs are against it, I am for it. If the pharmaceutical companies are against it, I am for it. If the fuel companies are against it, I am for it. If the timber companies are against it, I am for it when it comes to marijuana. Because I know who my enemies are. The rich guy who's trying to legalize marijuana doesn't want to put you in a cage. I know these people will say, see, they'll have their own enforcement division and it'll be a Gestapo. You always know they got a good argument when they resort to Nazi analogies, right? It'll be a Gestapo to round up the people who are competing with the oligarchy. Ha ha ha. Right. Sure, that's what it'll be. Somehow it's going to be so much more dangerous and risky to be a pot grower when pot is legal and you can home grow it because of 10 companies that'll not want you to do that, compared to city, county, state, and federal officials not wanting you to do that, and it's completely illegal, and the slightest smell of it can be an excuse to break down your door. Somehow, the legalization scenario is more dangerous for the marijuana grower. I just don't get it. So, all right, if you want to have that, okay, vote against legalization in 2015 in Ohio. Let 20,000 more lives be impacted by prohibition. And then in 2017, hope that the asshole you hated in 2015 and voted against in 2015 got the message that, it ought to be all free market marijuana, instead of the message that, if I just tweak the monopoly part of it, I'll be able to get what I want. I just don't get it. And really, it's already decrim. It's decrim in Ohio. It's decrim for 100 grams. Well, if decrim's so great, why are you fighting for legalization at all? What's the harm? Why is if you like decrim so much? Because you want to be part of the green rush, right? Because this is what it's really all about, isn't it? It's all about whether or not you think you can get rich growing marijuana, isn't it? And this is where I think the Ohio thing suffers from a little bit of lottery fallacy, right? You know, the people that play the lottery. My wife's one of them. She buys a lottery ticket, like $2 worth of lottery tickets every Wednesday and Sunday or whatever it is, right? Always buying lottery tickets. I'm like, honey, lottery is a tax on people who are bad at math. Yep, but if you don't bet, you can't win. If you don't bet, you can't win. Somebody's got to win the lottery. And so everybody's approaching this Ohio thing as if having the 10 commercial growers already determined has somehow cost them their shot at winning the lottery. That somehow these guys would be opening up their own marijuana businesses. Now, some might. There's some farmers, probably. Some good growers who've got the capital and the wherewithal to be able to survive in an actual agricultural market. Not these guys that are growing a couple plants in their basement or their house who are selling them at $300, $400 a bag, whatever the price is in Ohio, making the easy money off of prohibition profits. But I'm talking guys that could grow to scale with standards, inspections, all that kind of stuff, and can do basic business who, probably losing out on an opportunity there. But I don't think for long. They have this attitude as if once this is passed, it will never change. And I just don't think it can't avoid changing. The way marijuana legalization is going to look nationwide in 10 years will stun us all. And I doubt very much that some sort of monopolistic approach can succeed. Weed wants to be free. The economics of it, the supply and demand of it, want it to be free. And trying to declare that there's only going to be 10 growers and that's going to take care of the state, you might as well declare that pi equals 3.0. You can declare it all you like. It's not going to change the reality. The reality is that legalization always trumps prohibition. We've got to stop the war. There's a war against us. And our enemies are the police, not the businessmen. And it does seem a little ungrateful, too. You're living in a state where for 45 years, nobody has even come close to winning a battle for you. 1973 when Ohio decriminalized, along with Oregon, I think. Or is it 74? 75? One of those years. But early 70s, Ohio decriminalized weed, and not a single battle in Ohio has been won since. And so finally, somebody comes along and gets legalization on the ballot, and in doing so finds a way to fund it. And you want to look that gift horse in the mouth? You want to reject that? I don't understand it. I'll never will. Well, folks, that's all the time we got for today. Time flies when you legalize. I got to make my way out to the Analog on Hawthorne for our Portland Normal meeting. Check me out on Periscope. We'll bring you as much of it as we can. Periscope's quite a battery sucker, though, I got to be honest. Join us tomorrow for one more show before I head out to Boston. There'll be no live show on Friday, but on tomorrow's show, Cops Say Legalize Drugs. We'll have a speaker from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. For everyone here at Rolla J Studios, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.